just another look describing how I filter my honey as I extract it. Here you will see a 2-frame manual crank Dadant Junior bench extractor. I've been extracting foundationless frames from my beehives. These are frames that have no plastic center, but I do have heavy pound test fishing string running horizontally through these frames. And what I do is I just go really slow. I turn the frames, and as I turn the handle, you'll see the honey spins out to the side. I need to add some bearing grease because it's very noisy. So when the honey is spun, it falls down the sides to the bottom of the tank. It comes out of this spigot here, and this is a honey bucket. Basically, it's a 5-gallon bucket with a gate on the end that I have closed tightly. This is a bucket filter. So this is a 600 micron screen, and the honey that comes out of the spigot, as you see, may have wax bits in it. But once it goes through the 600 micron screen, it collects in the bottom. So when my extracting from the frames are completed, I'll close the gate on the extractor so the honey doesn't drip, and then this bucket will get poured into this bucket. So over here is where I decapped the frames. I have a lot of honey cappings, and in a future video I will show you what I'm going to do. I can take all of these cappings and leave it out for the bees, or there's another way. I can collect these cappings and wash them in warm water, and once the cappings are washed from the honey, it can very easily be melted and poured into molds. But this bucket here has a series of 2 bucket filters. Again, these are very easily purchased from any bee supply shop. They're little plastic inserts that fit right around a 5-gallon bucket. This is a 400 micron filter. So I pour the honey through this filter, and below it is a 200 micron filter. And that one's upside down. But the 200 micron filter is very, very small, and again the 400 is a little bit bigger. But the idea here is a triple filtration. This will make the honey very clear. When it comes out of the jar, it looks very nice, and I figured I would just show you a little more on how I am filtering the honey as I extract the frames. Alright, so I'm sure you guys get the idea, but just to show you, I have this little setup here out on my table. Again, this is the 600 micron bucket filter. The honey was in that bucket. I took my stand for my extractor and I set it up on this table, and I put the other honey bucket on top of it. And as I mentioned, this is the bucket that has the 400 filter on the top, and then the 200 micron filter underneath it. So you'll see we got it loaded up with honey on the top here, and all of that honey is just going to strain through the 400 micron, and then it will strain through the 200 micron, and it will collect down here on the bottom of the bucket. You can kind of see where it's a little where it's a little faded there, you can see the honey line. So this does take a little bit of a process for it to go through that type of a filtering, but it's worth it, I think. And then when it's all filtered through, I'll take these and I'll set these out in my bee yard just like this, and the bees will come and clean all of this up. Again, it's just wax cappings and honey remnants. And then we'll go ahead and we'll bottle it up. I do have some quart jars over here that I'm filling. And I put this little Pyrex container underneath the honey gate because, in my experience, be careful what you buy, folks. This was from Amazon, and I do have it sealed up fairly tight, but I didn't use caulk or silicone caulk or anything around the inside because, again, I want to be able to interchange these. But I noticed that when I'm filling up jars, taking this lever, moving it up and down, it's a mess, man. I mean, the honey always drips off the sides, and if you close the thing down, it drips out. If anybody out there knows a good honey gate that's worth a damn, that works really well, let me know. Post it in the comments below. My guess is that I'm sure when you get up there in volume, a pump, actual honey pump connected to a tank would be the best way to do it, because these gates just suck. I mean, they're okay for small extractions, but it makes a huge mess. So usually what I end up doing is I pour it out of the gate into this Pyrex container, and then I can go from the Pyrex container into the jar or into these little squeeze bottle jars easier without it running all over the place. But even this Pyrex container, the nozzle is not really that pointy, so it can kind of seep out if you pour too fast. But anywho, that's enough rambling. Hope you enjoyed the video, and that's all. Keep on tuning in, have fun with your bees, and thanks again for following my progress.